Welcome some of the best radio talk show hosts in the country. Warren Ballentine with Syndication 1 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Charles Goyette joins us from KFNX in Phoenix, Arizona.
Hi, Kitty.
Hi, and Joe Madison, the Black Eagle from WOL in Washington, D.C. He's here in New York tonight, and thanks for being with us.
Thank
and thanks
you.
for
Glad we could be here.
Making the trip to New York. Gentlemen, I'd like to start with Governor Spitzer, who has managed to raise quite a bit of controversy with his action to open up driver's licenses to illegal aliens. And Warren, I know you spent a good bit of time on this, discussing this. What are your viewers saying?
Well, my viewers are very upset about this. And to be honest with you, Kitty, I'm a little concerned as a citizen and as an attorney. One of the things that I'm worried about is if they're going to issue these licenses, they're giving these people the right to drive. And if they're giving them the right to drive, if they go out and kill somebody, can we sue the state of New York? Also, the Interstate Commerce Clause is going to come in effect here, because if you're giving somebody a license, you're giving them a right to drive from state to state. And the illegal issue comes into play, because if you're pulled over and you have a legal driver's license from the state of New York, the question of you being here illegally may not ever be addressed because you have a legal driver's license. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of different issues that's come into play here with this.
Certainly, Charles, you know, and also this document is your entree onto an airplane, isn't it?
You know, Kitty, I think all of this stuff is headed toward a national ID card. I'm very, very sad to say that. I believe that's where we're going, and it is a concomitant, it is an inevitability with the national security state that the Republicans and the Democrats have ushered in this country with the Patriot Act and more. We're headed toward a national ID card. We're headed to being vassals or serfs of the state. And I've looked at the field of presidential candidates. There's only one guy who's outspoken against this kind of stuff, and it's Congressman Ron Paul. He's been against this idea of a national security state for a long time, and he's starting to look more and more attractive with each passing day.
But you know what's really stupid about this, and I'm not going to mince words with this, is when I heard the governor today announce he's going to have a separate place for what? Illegal immigrants to go. So can you imagine if you're with the Immigration Service, all you have to do is just sit there and wait to see who gets in line?
Well, can you imagine if the line's shorter? What they...
I mean, so what person who's here illegally is going to go and say, okay, legal over here, illegal over here? Who's going to do that?
That's right. It's really boggles the mind how that would work out logistically.
2 hours we couldn't get away from this, and not one caller supported it. Not one.
Well, that's interesting. You know, you bring up the whole presidential race. Rudy Giuliani was in Philadelphia yesterday, and he visited Gino's Cheese Steak Shop, where they had a sign that said, "This is America, please order in English." All the candidates are going to have to address.
Oh, he should have went across the street to the other one. And then they didn't have to worry about that controversy.
Yeah, well,
he didn't, so that's why he's in the trouble he is with, you know, it's ridiculous.
Well, Giuliani has toughened his position on immigration. He said that to become a citizen of the country, you should be able to read, write, and speak English. But when he was mayor, I mean, New York is basically a sanctuary city, and he had a much, much more inclusive, softer approach. Warren, what do you think about the candidates and trying to reposition their attitudes on some of these issues?
Well, you know, Kitty, I think Giuliani is a flip-flopper. I think he's trying to get votes. He's trying to position himself more aligned with the American people to get these votes out here. And I think the true sense, I agree. I think Ron Paul has took a great stance on the immigration issue. But I also got to say this. I think that the Democrats have an opportunity right now to come forward and seize this opportunity. But I think so many of them are concerned about getting votes that they're trying to see which way it's going to go before they come out and take a political stand.
You know, they're all trying to reinvent themselves. None of them have any core beliefs. There is nothing you could depend on. This is like George W. Bush running in 2000 for a more modest foreign policy. There is nothing any of them believe in other than trying to get a monopoly on some kind of power in Washington. This brings us back to Ron Paul once again, who says, I'm not running for president because I want to tell you what to do with your life. I'm running for president because I want to back the government out of your life and out of your affairs.
And they're all looking looking to the future. AFL-CIO years ago would never have taken the position they've taken on immigration as it relates particularly to depressing wages. Look where they are now. Democrats are looking to the future. They, in essence, I firmly believe, are saying to black America, the majority of my audience and Warren's audience, is basically you guys are now in the lower tier of our political future, and they're pandering now to the future. That's exactly what's going on. AFL, Democratic Party, and to some degree, Republican Party is pandering to big business, because look at the decision with the no match today. That is a big business decision.
That's right. That's right.
Weigh in on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think Joe is right on the money with this. I think the Democrats are purposely taking the position that they're taking because they're looking at it saying, look, African-American people in this country, we either have your vote already, because most of us vote Democratic, including myself, or they say, well, look, we don't need to focus on you so much because we have so many other people in the Hispanic community that may be voting for us. And they're looking at big business and they're looking at immigration as the two keys to usher this new era in. And I got to agree with my other colleague on the show about this national ID card. I think that is all coming to fruition in the next couple of years to be.
Charles, anything to say on this, or should we move on to the next?
Well, yeah, let's move on. I got a lot of other stuff I want to talk to you about, Kitty.
The one thing I really want to, God, believe me, we have more. Hillary Clinton, let's go into this, beat her Democratic rival in fundraising. She got $27 million last quarter versus $20 million from Obama raised in the quarter. He was ahead, though, slightly in the second quarter. What does this mean in fundraising, and does money equal the nomination? And I'll start remote, so Charles, go ahead.
You know, these people sell off a little bit of themselves each time they stick out their hand and they agree to do something for somebody to collect the money. And by the time they're in office, there's nothing left. No wonder they have no core beliefs. Slice by slice by slice, they sell themselves away. Hillary is no different. We are faced with a really, really tough challenge of people here that want to expand the war, continue to ruin brand name America, and decapitalize this country. And I think it's time the American people wake up to the whole bunch of them, the R's and the D's alike.
Obama took the moment today during a speech in Chicago to point out that he had opposed the war 5 years ago when he spoke out against the U.S.-led invasion of Iraq. Let's listen to a quick soundbite of what he said.
In 2009, we will have a window of opportunity to renew our global leadership and bring our nation together. If we don't seize that moment, we may not get another. This election is a turning point. The American people get to decide, are we going to turn back the clock, or are we going to turn the page?
A clear effort to set himself aside. Go ahead, Warren.
Kitty, I absolutely love Obama, and I'm going to tell you why. I love him because he speaks about inclusion, including everybody, and I think that's going to be key here and for the next president. Also, with this fundraising thing here, it's two things that we got to make perfectly clear. One, Hillary Clinton is getting money from lobbyists and campaign contributions. Obama's not getting that. This is all grassroots for him right now. And I think that shows a big key here. I know the polls are saying one thing, but I really like the fact that he's talking about inclusion. He's not talking about excluding anybody else. Right now, I'm a fan of Barack Obama.
Kitty,
go ahead. Well, let Joe in on this for a second.
The only thing I was going to say is that, quite candidly, I don't care how much money they raise. I want to know where they stand on issues. That's what I want to see the news media focus on, not how much money they raise. Now, you want to talk about big business. This is big business. Why does the news media interested in how much money they raise? Because media is going to get the bulk of that money. TV, what we're on, is going to get the bulk of that money. Obama, 5 years ago, gave a speech that most people didn't hear. He said he would have voted differently. I thought that your correspondence questions were very pointed. I want to tell Warren and the world that I have given up my Democratic affiliation. I have given up any thought of ever being a Republican. And I'm now an independent with a small I, and I have said to the candidates, I quit complaining about not getting enough time. I'll give you 3 hours on my show, all of you, Republican and Democrat, not to take calls from inside Washington. Well, I think Obama is close to taking me up on it. And then once he does, the rest of them will follow suit.
Charles, you get the last word. Go ahead.
Well, let me just tell you, I think Obama has given himself too much credit for his opposition to the war. It was very convenient for him to say that he opposed it before he was elected. But since he has been a United States Senator, he has fallen right in line on every vote to continue the war, authorize the war. His voting record on the war is identical to Hillary Clinton's. It's not as though there was ever a proposal to strand those Americans halfway around the world and leave them, but the war needs to be stepped down and defunded, and he hasn't done anything to get it done.
And
gentlemen, we'll leave it there. Okay.
Yep.
Well, none of them.
Gentlemen, we got to leave it here. They're telling me we're out of time. Come back. We'll continue it. Thank you so much. Joe Madison, Charles Goyette, and Warren Ballentine.